Dave, just on your lineup with Hyman, do you have a sense if he might be a player for you tomorrow night, or how's it look?
He skated on his own this morning. We're waiting for some more tests to come back today, and if those come back the way we'd hoped, he'll skate in the morning, but tough to make a call until then.
These last couple of games, you've had to pull your way back into them, but you're finding ways to win these games. What's your sense on where the improvement in the group has been that's gotten you these results?
Well, the Calgary game was seesaw back and forth. You know, we got ourselves back in the game with a power play on that one. Koskinen played real well for us. The game last night, I thought if you watched the game from start to finish, we were a really good team. Like, we had a lot of chances, didn't capitalize on chances. That's probably the one area that we can improve on, but found our way back into the game. In overtime, we were dominant, and we got the one we wanted. So it's, you know, they're just, I don't know. Last night's game, lots of energy, lots of compete. I mean, there's lots of good things about the game, and we got to keep moving the right direction that way.
A couple of games in a row now, you've come back from 2-0 down. I mean, some of that is born out of necessity because you're always falling behind 1-0. But does that kind of build in a layer of resilience that when the team is down 1 or 2, they've been there so many times that it's maybe not as big deal?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's not it's not something you haven't seen before, so you deal with it, you know. And that's I think we went on early on. We're worried about it, and then just happened so much. You just got to deal with it, and that's where we are right now. And even last night, like again, we've had some games lately where, you know, we've given up the lead, and we feel like we're playing really well. So last night was the same thing. After the second period, we'd create a lot of good chances. We had to start capitalizing on some of them. And McLeod's goal sneaks in, and it kind of gave us a lot of juice, and the power play took over, and there wasn't a power play goal, but right after the power play scored. But we had lots of chances to win that game. Their goalie played very well, but I like the way we stuck with it.
Yeah, do you get a sense that first goal thing is having less of an emotional impact now because you've almost...
Yeah, especially because we were actually a decent team. The first period, we're about even on goals for and against. So it's not as if we're getting really behind early. You're getting in the game, you know. So it's something you just have to deal with, and it doesn't deter you from trying to win the game.
Dave, where are you on the Evander Kane situation as the coach of this team as opposed to the general manager?
Ken and I have talked to him, and that's about where we're going to go until something happens. There's not much more to say about it.
So you don't move the salt shakers around the table and say, okay, here's where he looked good?
Oh, well, when we talk to him, we think about different situations, but got to get to know him a little bit first, get to know his game, see where he's at.
Nugent Hopkins, in practice you had him obviously at center, but he plays on the wing. Do you just consider him, you'd rather have him in the top six than centering his own line as a third line?
We'll see where it all falls out, but just the way the matchups, the way things worked out last night, we thought that was a good spot for him. Nuge come back from not playing for 3 weeks, played a really strong game for us. It was really good. So he touches so many parts of the game that it's just, he's a good player. He's a good player, and he's one of those guys, you don't realize how good he is until you miss him for a little bit.
And if he's playing third line center, is it a question of not getting enough 5-on-5 minutes? Because the third line center behind Leon and Connor does not get anywhere near the minutes that, say, a winger does playing in the top six, which is what Nuge.
Well, it depends. Unless you're trying to balance that out a little bit, are trying to get some more minutes for that third line, you know. So we'll see how that all pans out as we get players back.
Good. Thank you.
Just following up on that, Tip, did you come away from your meeting with the answers that you wanted? Like, how did you feel when you left?
We'll see. We'll see. We had just chatted with him a little bit. It was, you know, we asked a few questions. He gave a few answers, but we'll see where it goes.